This particular video is on how to depot eyeshadows, such as like MAC single shadows. If you want to depot them and like put them into like a Z palette like this, you know, for easy carry or travel. And so I wanted to kind of show you an easy way to actually depot them out of these containers and just have the pan themselves. If you don't have access to like their pro palette, like pro pans and stuff like that. These are also a really good way because you can actually these containers can go back to MAC. So if you depot and then you take your containers back, you can get your back to MAC stuff. So it's awesome, an awesome way to kind of do that fairly quickly. So what I'm first going to do is kind of show you what you're going to need for this particular project. Obviously you need your eyeshadow that you want to depot. You will need a spatula, an X-Acto, something with a flat, thin edge on it. I've used both ways, both with a spatula and with an X-Acto, and you can do it with either one. So an X-Acto knife you can get like at Hobby Lobby or those sort of things. You could even probably in a pinch use a box knife like from Home Depot. Anything with a sharp blade on it, just be really careful not to, you know, cut yourself. But I'm just going to use a spatula for this. You will also need a Sharpie so that we can mark on the back of our pan what color it is and where it came from. You're going to need some cotton balls, a bowl or plate. You're going to need some alcohol, and I'm using 91% isopropyl alcohol. You're going to need magnets. These come in the Z palettes. They kind of put them in as options. You'll also need a flat iron, and I'm just using this T3 flat iron, but any flat iron will do. And you're gonna need a nice flat working space, and I usually cover mine with parchment paper, as I've done here. You'll need a pair of scissors and some tape. Whatever kind of tape you can use whatever kind of tape you want, but I'm using Scotch tape for this. When I did forget, you are gonna need some paper towels as well. So first off, we are going to take our cotton balls and our bowl or plate and our alcohol, and we are going to just saturate those cotton balls in there. And this is mainly going to be used to actually dislodge the glue that is on the back side of those pans, so that we can get that nice and clean, and they can be attached without any adhesive to your Z palettes. Or you can also, you know, basically use MAC's palettes. They've got theirs as well that are magnetized, and they'll fit just perfectly in there once they're depotted. So we're going to do that first, and we'll set that aside. So I'll leave that up there. And then we just need to retrofit our flat iron for our purposes today. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our flat iron, and we are going to cut a piece of parchment that is long enough and wide enough to fit around our like the bottom part of our flat iron, like this. And it doesn't have to be perfect or neat or anything. We're literally just doing this to protect our flat iron from any adhesive. And then you'll take your tape and just tape that on there. Just like that. Now what I do at this point is I kind of make creases on my flat iron right along those edges, just to see if I can get it as flat as possible. And you may need to just kind of crimp the sides a little. Basically you want it to kind of stay where it's supposed to be, as flat as possible, and you know, not shift and move. So we're going to leave that there, and you want to make sure it is plugged in and hot, or getting there hot. So I would recommend doing your adhesive or your parchment before you turn your flat iron on, but we are going to have it on. I'm going to let that warm up. While that's warming up, I wanted just to discuss a couple of the options you need to look for. So obviously, we know your MAC pans can be depotted out of these containers, but what you mainly want to look for if you are looking at depotting an eyeshadow is look really closely for that silver ring around the edge, and that just means it's sitting in an actual metal pan. There are some eyeshadows that are made directly into the pot. I know ColourPop's eyeshadows they don't actually have a pan in them. So if you try to depot them, you're going to have a whole bunch of eyeshadow and no container for it to sit in once it's depotted out of the actual plastic casing. So you want to definitely look for that silver ring around the edge to make sure it is sitting in a pan. Now you can do this to not just eyeshadows, but blushes as well. This is a little small size of Nars blush that I got. I don't even know how long ago it was or how I got it, but it's just a small one, and it has, again, that same silver ring around the edge, so we know it is sitting in a pan, and so we can depot these as well. There are even some like this from Clinique that are also sitting in a pan. You can barely see, it almost looks like there's a color ring, but there is a silver pan in there. These do depot as well. I have done that several times. So now that our flat iron is heated up, what we want to do first is set it up right. And we want to take our eyeshadow and we're just going to set it on this edge right here. And what we're doing is basically just warming up the bottom half of the eyeshadow. Now you don't want to press down on this part or anything. Just let it sit there really nice and easy. Now it will heat up. It will not do anything to damage the eyeshadows themselves or anything like that. It's literally just going to warm up that adhesive that's holding that pan inside of the plastic container. If you do want to do this to cream products, you really have to watch the heat really carefully because it can liquefy the actual product itself. So you'll have to work very carefully with those. It is possible to do that, but I'll show that at another point in another video, or I'll link some down below for you in the meantime to help you really be able to depot those as carefully as possible without affecting the product. But for this particular video, we're just going to do powder products like eyeshadow or blushes. So we're just kind of warming up the bottom of that. Now at a certain point it'll feel kind of like you're melting the plastic, and you can kind of see where I've made a little bit like that. That's why we actually put that parchment paper on the actual flat iron. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go ahead and take off this seal, and so we're going to try to slip this under. Yep, just slip that right under the edge of this. And I like the MAC eyeshadows for this particular reason because their seals come off so easily. But I hang on to this, and I would just flip this over and set it down on another part of your parchment paper. Like you could put it over here or wherever. You want to just set that down, and we will actually reuse that. So don't throw it away. I would just put the adhesive side up. So what we did was we removed the sticker itself, and we set that aside. And what we're going to do is we are going to take this, kind of take this plastic casing apart. There is a little lip that holds kind of a plastic tray inside of the plastic casing of these eyeshadow cases. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically wedge our X-Acto or our spatula in between. I'm not sure if you can see that like wedge where I've kind of got my my spatula wedged. But what we're going to do is we are basically lifting up until it pops out like that. So this little plastic tray comes out of the actual MAC eyeshadow casing, and this will open and close just like a normal thing, but has nothing in it. I'm going to set that aside. We'll come back to that in just a few minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this little tray back onto our flat iron. And let that adhesive heat up that is holding that plastic plate onto the metal plate. Okay, this has been on here for roughly a minute, and I'm just lifting that off, and I did feel it kind of stick, so it is starting to melt the back side of this, which is totally okay. We're just going to set that flat down on there, and you can kind of see I was wiggling a little too hard earlier, and I already damaged my eyeshadow, but that's okay. Principle is still the same. What we're doing is we are kind of twisting this, and you can actually see it moving a lot better with that gouge in my eyeshadow. But what we're doing is we are basically making sure it is lifting, which it is. It is moving. That adhesive has started to melt, and we are basically looking for it to kind of pull up. Now, you don't want to like really winch this. You want to just wait. Sorry for the hair. You just want to kind of wait for it to sort of lift, and it'll pop out just like that. Now that pan will be hot, so be careful. And I usually just set it flat over like that, and that adhesive is on the back there as well as in here. Now what I do with this little plate is I put it back inside of this other plastic part for MAC, and they just snap right back inside as long as you didn't melt it too bad. And it just snaps back in, and this closes, and this is what you can turn back into for Back to MAC. So Back to MAC for the recycling program. They don't even look twice to see there's no pan in there, and even if they did, they knew what you did probably. So this is the fastest way I know how to get free eyeshadow or free lipsticks from MAC. So awesome thing. But back to our eyeshadow is we have all this adhesive on here, and that's perfectly fine. We're gonna take these little metal magnets that Z Pellet gives that has the little adhesive on one side like that, and we are going to take off that little sticker and put this adhesive towards that adhesive, because these MAC plates are not magnetic. I don't know if at one point they used to be, because I feel like they used to be, but they are not magnetic. So I'm having to use one of those little plastic, I keep saying plastic, those little metal magnets, which is totally fine. And we are just basically putting that on the back side of this eyeshadow, which is helping us not have to deal with that adhesive anyway. So awesome. And then we're just going to take our sticker from earlier, and we're going to put that on top of that magnet. These fit perfectly. It's like they were made for this. And that allows us to be able to keep track of, okay, so this was MAC Soft Brown Matte Eyeshadow. And it's still like coming apart, which was totally not from anything that we just did. It was just cracked. So, now we've just got a depotted eyeshadow with our color on the back, and it will now attach to our Z palette. So, I wanted to show you a quick way to depot something other than MAC. For this purpose, I'm going to use Clinique's blush, and they have a nice, beautiful case. It's got a mirror on it, everything. These are great, except they're not very practical if you have a lot of blushes. So we're going to do the exact same thing, is set this with a blush directly over the plate itself, and we're just going to kind of let that sit there for that same amount of time and let that heat up. Now these blushes do not have a sticker on the back, so we're not going to be peeling any stickers off or anything. But I'm not going to leave that on there too long, because I know these will start to melt fairly quickly. So it is starting to melt, which is okay, as I said. What we're going to do is we are taking our spatulas or our plastic, our knives, and we're just wedging this right along. Sorry, I don't want to blind you with the mirror. Right along that edge, just to see if we can get it to lift out. And we're making sure there's no adhesive stuck anywhere. And you can already see it wiggling, which is exactly what we want. We want it to wiggle. But it doesn't feel quite like it is ready to come out, so I'm going to stick it back on here for just a couple minutes, or less than that. just to get, basically we want the glue to be so loose that it just pops right out. It's not having to be pulled off. If you're having to pull it off or wedge it out, it's gonna crack whatever pan is in your pan. So we don't want to do that. I'm gonna try that now because it is still definitely melting that plastic. Just wedging my spatula in there. I'm gonna see if I can get it. Ooh, and it just popped right out, just like that. It's just lifted. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plop this out like that. Thank you. So I don't touch this pan because I'm sure it's really hot. Yeah. And then you can just discard your case from Clinique. And to my knowledge, I don't believe they have a recycling program either. Now, when it comes to these eyeshadow or these blushes and eyeshadows for that matter, if we don't have a sticker or anything to put on the back side of this, we now have to deal with the adhesive on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of our cotton balls that we saturated with that alcohol. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of the alcohol out, not too much because we want it to be saturated. And I'm just going to set that over the parts of the adhesive. What that's going to do is start breaking down the adhesive itself. Just so you know, that Nars blush that I did show you is magnetic. I didn't have to attach any of those little discs to the back side of this. I was just able to just put our plastic sticker over the top of the adhesive, and it is magnetized. So they do depot really easily, as well as obviously the Clinique ones do, and then I'm going to also do a NYX one later, but I've done these before as well, and they depot. Pretty much anything that has that kind of metal pan in it will depot fairly easily if you just kind of work with it. The key is to make sure you're paying attention, you're not over melting the plastic that it's sitting in, and you know, you're really kind of being very gentle in how you're wedging it out with your knife or your spatula. Okay, so at this point, I'm just going to go back over this. That pan is now cooled enough for me to, I'm squeezing out some of that alcohol into my bowl, but so I can actually touch it now. And I'm just kind of putting my nail over the top of it, and I'm just running that along, and it's kind of peeling that adhesive right off. So I'm not using my nail directly on that. I'm putting the cotton ball between my nail, but it just comes right off, just like that. Very easy, simple. I'm gonna do the other side real quick. And I'm gonna use our handy dandy napkin just to make sure I'm not oversaturating my blush on the other side because it was sitting in some. Okay, so I'm gonna wring out some of that alcohol. I'm gonna do the same thing to the side. This one's just a little bit more, has a little more adhesive on it, but it just rubs right off. Very easy. Just like that. Now if you happen to get any alcohol on your powder product, it will dry out. Just let it set somewhere for a little bit, and that alcohol will just dry out. It won't hurt your product at all. It's actually kind of sanitize it for you. But now we have no adhesive on the back here. What we're going to do is we're going to take our Sharpie and we're going to write on the back side of this what the product is. So it is a Clinique product. And the color is a glow. Just like that. And that way, if you run out of this blush and you absolutely love it and you want to go back and purchase it again, you know exactly what color it is. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this and it's been informative and help you out. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I'd love to answer them for you. And let me know if you need me to clarify something a little bit more. But I really do hope that this has helped make your life a little easier, maybe make some traveling with makeup a little easier. Be sure you subscribe for future videos. And until next time, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Talk to you later. Bye.